Hey and howdy, this is going to be a quick intro because this is a long video and I'll be talking through most of it for once, so you're going to hear my voice enough. But for the intro, I'm going to be doing 3 speed paints today for 3 of the anime that I've been watching that I really like, and that includes Komi Can't Communicate, My Dress Up Darling, and Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie. Now, if you've been anywhere, if you've been watching anime recently, or if you've been on TikTok, you might know this as the genre of Get No Bitches and Stack No Papers, which was, sorry, I had to include that as a funny little joke. It makes me laugh. But yeah, if you know any of those are the 3 anime that are kind of really big right now, and they're really big especially for the fact that the main protagonists, the girls, are really popular. They're like waifu of the year material. But yeah, these 3 anime I've really enjoyed so far, especially Shikimori, which has just come out, so I can't really say too much on it. But I'm going to elaborate more as the speed paint goes on, because for once, I'm going to be adding commentary to my process. For these speed paints, I drew them in my style from screenshots that I did from the openings of the anime, and then I colored in the anime's coloring style, because I wanted to give myself a bit of a challenge. But yeah, I'm gonna just stop talking right now and then get on with the video, so that way you guys can go more into the process of how I did all of these. But yeah, enjoy the video! Hello! How are you all doing? I am returned from the Slight Abyss, and now I'm just gonna pull a full-out disclaimer out there. This is the first time I've done any commentary like this, so I'm a bit rusty to it. Well, not rusty, new. But yeah, today I shall be talking about the 3 speed paints that I've done here today. The first one, as you can see, it was for Komi's anime. Komi Can't Communicate. I'm going to talk a little bit about the anime first because I kind of want to elaborate for the people who somehow haven't seen these animes. But yeah, Komi's anime is basically about Komi, or technically about her friends as well, mostly from the perspective of Tadano, the protagonist. But basically, Komi Can't Communicate is essentially a story about Komi and Tadano. Specifically about Komi's communication disorder, because she suffers from extreme anxiety, so she finds it really hard to communicate with others. And that's essentially the bulk of the story, just her and Tadano kind of helping each other with you know, how they communicate, and then Tadano helping Komi make 100 friends. That's an extreme oversimplification of it, but yeah, this is just the line art stage, so I'm kind of just buying myself a little bit of time. And I don't have a script for this, if you couldn't tell. I'm just winging it, because I want this video to get out. But yeah, so far this is the line art for this. For the screen cap, essentially the process of what I did was that I took a series of screenshots from each of the opening songs from the animes. I took a series of them from the most interesting shots I could find when I slowed down the videos, and then I sent that to my friend, and I was like, hey, I want you to choose one for me to draw. Now, see, one thing I forgot was that my buddy, old friend, old pal is an asshole. And he decided to choose these screenshots based on what he thought would give me the most pain. Specifically the last one, because he said, and I quote, "That one has a background, and I want you to practice backgrounds." Excuse me, sir? Yeah, I did it. You'll see. You'll see in the last one, I did it. But for now, we're talking about Komi. This one was the simplest one out of the 3. I kind of really enjoyed the process for this one. It was the simplest out of the 3, but the coloring style was the most interesting, I think. Especially with how the shading, specifically for the opening. This isn't how the regular anime is shaded, kind of. The opening is a bit more vibrant, especially with the color blocks. Basically, the shading itself has line art to it, which kind of oddly makes it pop even more. But yeah, it was very interesting. I really liked the anime for Komi Can't Communicate. I kind of stopped watching it partway through, but I kind of want to finish it because apparently season 2 is out now, so I kind of want to catch up with that. But yeah, I got the manga for Komi, actually, before it got an anime adaptation, so I was reading it, actually, before I watched it. Man, this line art's taking a while. You know, I'm kind of just rambling here, just going a really off book. Oh, hey, now we're starting with the coloring. Hey, I can finally get into my process, thank goodness. So basically what I usually do for my usual art is that I put a full-on flat, and then I add color to it as I go. It kind of makes it easier to add on the color. You can see if any of the color doesn't fully go into the lines, like if there's a pinch point. It makes it a lot easier to map out my colors. And then what I did specifically for the colors is that I did an eyedropper on the screenshot. Now, I did this instead of eyeballing the colors because anime has a very specific color palette. Even if they look like bright colors, they're not. Anime, from what I've learned, uses strictly pastels. And all those pastels together with the shading make the colors look brighter. I don't know what kind of wizardry that is. Okay, but it works. Like, I literally found out as I was working on these, it literally works. It makes it all look bright. You're gonna find out for the My Dress Up Darling drawing, okay? It works. Even if they're all, like, grayish pastels, it works somehow, and I don't know what sorcery that is. I'm not an expert on color theory. I can't explain it. But it just works, I guess. You know? Yeah, you learn new things every day, and I guess this is one of those days for me. But yeah, so going into the process, I ended up, after grabbing the main colors, by the way, for each section, like her hair, her skin, her clothes, went in, saw that they did color their lines, actually. I think this is the only one out of the 3 that actually colors their lines. I'm pretty sure for the My Dress Up Darling one, the lines were not colored, but I added some color. I added some, like, brown or something. But for this one, they did color their lines, so I added those colors in as much as I could, just to also keep mimicking that style. I really like coloring my lines, so it's not that much different from what I usually do for my art. And oh yay, we've got to the section of suffering. So what you're seeing here now is that I, in an attempt to make the pattern easier for myself, tried making the said pattern, but little did Bunny know she fucked it up and didn't do it correctly. So what you can see is my collective suffering as I try to figure out why the heck it's not lining, but I eventually gave up and just hand drew it. I tried. I really did. I really tried. But yeah, I ended up hand drawing it in the end. It kind of turned out okay. I should have added more stripes, but I really just wanted to move on from it because patterns are a pain when you hand draw them and you don't make a pattern thingy because you don't know how to. And here, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, right! I forget to mention, my lines look wonky in some of these because my pen stabilizer decided to die. It decided to just simply kaputs. But yeah, now we're getting onto the shading, which was actually the fun part. So basically, once more, taking the colors from the screenshot. Oddly enough, when you take the colors from the screenshot and you put them on, they turn out different than they do in the screenshot. And then when you put it on a multiply layer, then it turns out like it does in the screenshot. It's a weird effect. I don't know if that is another color theory thing. I really don't know. But it somehow worked. It somehow matched the colors, so I ended up doing that and it turned out, honestly turned out pretty good. I can't really choose a favorite from the screenshots. They all, I think, turned out pretty good in my opinion. At least in terms of how much I was able to mimic the coloring style. But just overall, I'm kind of just proud of these pieces because I don't really use pieces like this anyway. I usually just stick to character design, so this was kind of a nice change of pace. But yeah, I put in the blocks for the shading in the hair, and then I put the lines, because like I said, for the Komi style, there is lines on the shading, which kind of defines it a bit more and makes it somehow look a bit more cartoony. It was very fun. And then I eventually added the highlights, which again I dropped from the screenshot, added that in. I ended up going back and I added like kind of a lighter color to it because I thought it would make it pop more like it does in the screenshot. And then I think I added it on a overlay. Pretty sure. Can't tell. My avatar is in the way of my my layers. Oh well. The clouds. Oh yay, the fun part. I'm just watching this process as I go on, by the way. Sorry if I end up jumping from place to place. I'm literally watching it as it unfolds and the memories hit me. But yeah, the clouds were the same thing. The shading also lined, makes them real pop. I gotta say, the clouds were the most arduous part of the process, but ended up looking up really nice. Very fluffy. Would totally sit in them. But yeah, with the clouds, that was the last part of the Komi drawing. But yeah, overall, like I said before, I'm really proud with how this turned out. This was the simplest one out of the 3. But yeah, so time to time to talk about the next one. Hey, we're on to the next one, and I really should write a script next time, because now I just don't know where to start, because the line art's simple. My line art is really chunky in comparison to anime art in general. There are a few animes that use thicker line art, but that's for the more stylized animes that I've seen. Dress Up Darling, they have thin line art, which is kind of the typical anime style line art. Very thin, can be used for very nice flowy movements and like hair and stuff. So yeah, there's not much to talk about in the line art stage, so I'm just gonna talk about the anime. My Dress Up Darling, really good. I read the manga actually before the anime came out, and I was so excited when the anime was announced because the manga is so pretty and it's so cute. I do gotta admit though, it's a little horny. It's a little horny. Which is really funny when I was watching the anime with my friend, because he started making fun of me. But it's fine, I'll take a bullet for Marin. It's fine. But yeah, the anime was an absolute delight. The animation, gorgeous. The characters, amazing. The voices for both sub and dub, really great. It made my heart really warm. It was just absolutely gorgeous. They put so much love into the anime, and honestly, I really want a season 2. I hope there will be a season 2 because, please. Please and thank you. But yeah, overall, I think maybe in the future I might end up cosplaying as Marin, because honestly her cosplays are like really good. Like, they had this whole episode where they were watching kind of like this mock cartoon inside of the cartoon. And I thought it was really funny because it looked like Cardcaptor Sakura. It really did. And it was just, I was howling because they had a completely different anime style for that little segment. It was amazing. The opening song, a bop. Ending song, a bop. I think maybe if I decide to draw anime ending songs, I might do my Dress Up Darlings, because they do a different style from the anime that's really cute. It's like a little cartoony. They're like tiny chimps. But yeah, overall the anime was really nice. I would highly recommend it for anyone who really likes cosplay. I forgot to mention the synopsis of the anime, sorry. I just realized that. Basically, it's about the main character Gojo, who's kind of like this doll maker. Or at least learning to be a doll maker. He really wants to do these Hina dolls that he grew up loving because he thinks they're really pretty, and that's like his calling. But a lot of people are like, oh, you're a boy, shouldn't you, I don't know, play with monster trucks or something? I don't know. But yeah, he doesn't really have many friends because he's a bit of a nervous boy. And then the loud girl, of course, comes in, and she's like, hey, so you know how to sew. Have you heard of cosplay before? And then it just goes from there. It's really fun, and I'm really bad at synopsis, especially on the spot. I really should have written a script. I'm just rambling at this point. If you get sick of my voice, I completely understand. In which case, good luck for the rest of the video. Because again, I am still on the line. The line art is like the bulk of my recordings. The first like hour is spent just on line art. Because I hate line art. I find line art awful, but at the same time, lineless art sucks too. But you gotta do what you gotta do to make a good piece, and this turned out really cute, so I guess it was worth it. Now, the thing for this drawing, I am going to talk a little bit ahead, because it's still, again, on the line art portion. So, like I mentioned before in the Komi drawing, my friend picked out from a series of images that I took from each OP. He chose this one because he thought it would give me the most trouble to replicate the background of this one because of like the little floating objects behind her. And I told him I would make him eat his words. And he will, because I somehow did it. But I'm gonna have to explain that process when it actually shows up, because it took a little bit. I didn't replicate it fully because there was a little grainy effect that I couldn't quite tell if that was the quality of the screen cap or if it was the background. Because I find out if you try to take screenshots from YouTube, YouTube says eat shit to your quality. So you'll see a lot of that in the Shikimori drawing. That one had the most trouble because of the quality. I couldn't tell what was in the background, so I had to try something. But yeah, onto the coloring. For My Dress Up Darling, they don't really color the lines. I added a bit of brown just to really bring it together. Only because sometimes in the anime they do add a little bit of color, but they don't add too much from what I've seen. Like I said before, again, they use a bunch of pastels. They don't use bright colors. Instead, they put a bunch of pastels with the shading to make the colors look brighter. As well as with the highlights in the hair. It's not pure white. It's like a cream color. I learned that. But yeah, especially with the eyes themselves were actually really pretty. I really like how all of the styles that I've done today do the eyes. It's just really pretty. But yeah, grab the pastels, put them together, makes them look bright. I didn't like how the shirt looked at first, but then when all the colors were put together, it made it look. So I had to sit with it because, you know, it just worked. But yeah, I learned something today. Pastels work together when you do the shading. And also for the lashes for My Dress Up Darling, they add a little bit of white at the end of the lashes, and it just makes them pop. Pretty cool. But yeah, I added a little bit of brown, added the shading, again, directly dropping from the screenshot, and it somehow worked in the end. I still don't know how it works. I don't know if it's just... I don't know. Somehow it just works, and I just have to accept it as the way it is. And honestly, that's all I can really say. Just the same process as Komi. The real process gets to the background. So for the background, basically what I did was I saw, well, first I had to look at the background first, and I saw that all of the little objects that they had were lined in purple, so that was the first thing. So basically I sketched out each of the objects separately, so that way I could duplicate them and sort them around for later. But for now, I just needed to sketch them. Some of the things were a little bit weird because I'm not an expert on sewing by any means. I only know the basics. I basically only know needle and thread. So I didn't know what some of these things were, especially this little board thing. I don't know what that is. I don't know what I was sketching. I just looked at it, I saw it, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll do my best. So I sketched out everything, I placed it all, I messed around with some pens and stuff so I could do like the little paper with the jagged edges. And then placed them all around the place. So yeah, basically half of this was just figuring out the arrangement. Because I wanted to put everything around, but in the screen cap, because the background moves in the opening, when I took the screenshot, everything looked super close together. But it's supposed to be in motion, so I kind of wanted to fix up everything around so that way it would be more suited for a still image, rather than just doing it directly off of the screenshot, just so it would look a little bit visually better. And so that way everything would look a bit more organized for the end product. I outlined everything in purple. And then I went back in and I did some interesting stuff that I saw. I saw that they did a little bit of shading with some dots, halftone dots. So I had to figure out how to use those. I adjusted the settings and then put them in. So that way I could put in some halftone dots, which was kind of fun to figure out actually. Looked at the background, saw that they had like these little silhouettes of scissors in the back, and I kind of wanted to add those. They were just pretty cute. Yeah. But yeah. Other than that, that is the other piece done. On to the last one. Alrighty, and now we're back for our last piece, which is for Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie. Now, this one had a lot of interesting shots I could have used from the OP. I took 3 shots for each of the openings, so I had a hard time choosing just 3 shots for my friend to pick from. And out of all the shots, he chose this one. So in Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie, for the opening, they do a lot of really fun things with Shikimori. Sorry. But they do a lot of interesting things. They have like a little segment in the show where it transitions from like these fun little nods to other genres. And one of them is the detective genre, or whatever you want to call it. I don't think it's specifically murder mystery, just mystery, I guess. Sherlock Holmes, Watson, the whole shebang. Either way, one of those segments, I took some other screenshots that I was so excited for, but he's like, I'm choosing this one. And you know why I'm choosing this one? Because I want you to practice backgrounds. Because he can, I guess. I took the challenge though, I did it. Are you proud, buddy? I hope you're satisfied. I did it. I did the background. You're not going to see it right now because right now this is the line art, but I did it. It was a pain. It sucked. And while the line art's still going, I'm going to complain about it because I mentioned this earlier, but YouTube really said eat shit when it came to the quality of the screenshots, because I tried so hard to get like a clear picture of the background so I knew what the heck I was doing. I tried so hard. I slowed down the video to like its max slowness, but all the things came off fuzzy. I couldn't get a good picture, so I tried. I tried my best to figure out with what I could. Either way, it turned out halfway decent, and I'll take it. I'll take it. Either way, I've mentioned before, I don't usually do backgrounds. I'm more of a character artist, or at least that's what I want to think of myself as. I like character design way more. I do kind of want to play around with backgrounds in the future. I might do a video where I try to like do drawings from like maybe screenshots from Genshin or Minecraft or something, something from that. Something from a game that's very visually stunning or visually, conceptually something I can work with. But that's for the future. This is now. Now is anime. Anime only. But yeah, for this, just the basic line art, same thing. My line art is still chunkier than anime standard line art. It's still a wee bit chunky, so I kind of had to make a little bit of an adjustment to it to make it look not so weird with this style. Only specifically because in some regards I kind of messed up the proportions, especially for Izumi, the boyo over there. So I had to make some adjustments to that. Because I'm also very bad at distance, which is why I hate backgrounds, because I'm not great at perspective when it comes to stuff like buildings, or when it comes into the distance of an object relative to another object. I'm not great at distance. So drawing Izumi, having to make sure that he doesn't look like cartoonishly tiny next to Shikimori when he's like still like a good portion, like the bottom of the screen to the maybe brim of Shikimori's hat is where he's usually at. But when I did that, he looked too big. So I spent like a good like 10 minutes trying to figure out alone where Izumi should stand. Like, you're gonna see me adjust this boy's position several times because I could not figure out where this boy was gonna sit. I also had to fix up Shikimori because she was a little bit not big enough for the page. In the screenshot, she takes up like a good chunk of the screenshot. So I kind of had to change where she was just to make sure that she would fit. But yeah, after having done all that, I went to go work on the background, and as you can see, I'm already adjusting Izumi again and trying to get these guys relatively close to the size that they are in the screenshot. I had to make so many adjustments. And at this part, I basically, since the screenshot was so blurry, I took the screenshot, overlaid it. I did a very, very rough sketch to figure out the placement of things over the top. I was trying to find out what objects were what. Like, I don't know what that thing behind Shikimori is. I don't know if it's a sign. I don't know if it's part of a staircase. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I was confused. I don't even know what the thing behind her is. I'm pretty sure that's the roof of a ceiling with the wall of a building behind. I was trying to figure it out. I did a rough sketch based on the overlay of the screenshot, and then I did an actual sketch of the rough sketch over that, so that way I could clean up all the lines, make some adjustments for things to make a bit more sense, so it's not so weird. And overall just fix the placement of things. I think that really helped, so that way I knew how things were working. And then now we get to my favorite part, which is coloring. I love coloring. Learning all these coloring styles was such a blast. I think they all turned out pretty well, in my opinion. I really enjoyed them, especially the eyes. God, the way I'm gonna rant about this for a second. The way Shikimori does the eyes, beautiful. I don't know what they do at the edge of the iris, but they're doing something. Like that little blur effect. I don't know what it is, but it makes it look really nice. And the way they color their eyes is also very nice. It's really pretty. And I had a fun time just trying to figure it out. I should have blurred it a little bit more because they do kind of blur the colors together, like they blend them together a little bit. But I also kind of liked how they looked just a bit like hard shaded. But yeah, there was that. I had another rough time trying to figure out the basic colors of their outfits, by the way, because there's no official reference for these outfits yet. I say yet only because there was a reference for the little Alice in Wonderland bit that they did in the OP, but I'm not doing the Alice in Wonderland part. No, I'm doing the Sherlock Holmes part, which has no official reference of colors. So I had to go off of what I saw with my eyes, and also a little bit of referencing another reference of Shikimori that I had. I used the browns from that image because it looked close to the Sherlock Holmes outfit she was wearing. And then for Izumi, I mostly eyeballed it. I'm still not quite sure what color pants he had. I'm pretty sure they were brown, but I'm having slight doubts in my head. I feel like maybe they might be gray now. I'm kind of doubting myself. Either way, I tried. I eyeballed it the best I could to match up with the outfits. I made sure the red from Shikimori's bow tie matched with the red in Izumi's hat, and his bow, that's not a bow, that's a tie. His tie. But yeah, I tried to also make their colors match where they did have colors. I don't know, I thought it tied it nicely together. For the wall, I put in like this kind of brick overlay in it. By selecting the little areas and then putting it into it on a I forgot what the layer is called, but it's like a special layer. It's a mask layer. That's what it is. It's a masking layer. I did a masking layer, put it in there, colored it. That was really loud. And so it can blend in nicely. I put a little bit of colors into the wall. I put like a little bit of gray just to make the wall look a bit more textured. Because I wasn't quite sure. And then for this part, it's just mainly the colors. It's what I did before for my Dress Up Darling, except I really had to eyeball the shading colors because I couldn't directly eyedrop it because these guys are on a blue overlay, so it made it a little bit harder because they already had a color over top of the regular color. So it's layered together, so I thought it was gonna look weird if I just directly eyedropped it, so I eyeballed it the best I could. And then I did a blue overlay on the background before I did an overlay on top of them. And then I tried to adjust the overlay as best as I could, messed around with the glass, and then I got to the fun part, which was the highlights. They did some really interesting highlights here. They did 2 different colors for 2 different sources of light, which I was very confused about, but I was like, it looks pretty, I'll take it. But yeah, I put those, and then I put a glow layer on top of them, blurred the under layer so that way it would look all shiny like it does in the screenshot. And yeah, that was basically my process for Shikimori. And with that, all the screenshots are done.